This is the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Super Sports Schools podcast brought to you by Spur. Much like Spur people have a taste for life, we have a taste for school sport. Now, Super Sports Schools has broadcast and streamed 37 different sports this year, and we're going to celebrate them in the class of 2023. A special 2-hour broadcast on the 16th of December at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be very exciting. But today, instead of talking about the usual dominant sports in South Africa, cricket, rugby, we don't just do that here on the Super Sports Schools podcast. Today, we're talking about one of those 37 sports that we've featured, and that is chess. Now, I've got a very special man next to me who has just finished his matric final exams, and he's only lost one chess match in high school, and that was back in grade 8. Yashil, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the Super Sports Schools podcast.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
I think just to start off, one match in your whole high school career that you lost, and it was back in grade 8. I think to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning and start off with why you started playing chess and when.
So my parents taught my sister and I back when I was 5 and my sister was 6 years old. My sister started learning before me, and I immediately got jealous and envious, and I didn't want to steal all the glory from there. So I immediately started playing chess as well. And from there, we joined the Joburg Northwest Chess Club, and we traveled locally playing all sorts of chess tournaments over the country. We played in Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, and Durban, and many more.
Okay, so it started when you were 5 years old. Yeah, and then you've joined the club, played at school, St. John's, where you played as well, been their number one chess player for the whole time that you've been at high school. So since grade 8 as well. When you were those early stages, when you were just learning, when you were 5 years old, were the win streaks like they are now, or was it a bit more challenging?
Well, I think I started off with a boom, and ever since I've kind of just carried on with the same mental and strength. So when I was 8 years old, I managed to represent South Africa.
When you were 8?
Yes, and then
wow, okay.
I also received my FIDE Master title at 8 years old. So yeah.
So explain that to us. Obviously, FIDE govern chess worldwide. Obviously, people will have heard of Master, Grandmaster, etc. So just to describe the difference between those, and then to explain the significance of being a master at 8 years old.
So not everyone can get a title. You have to earn a title, and you get Candidate Master, FIDE Master, International Master, and Grandmaster. Obviously, Grandmaster is the best, and everyone wants to be there. But that takes an exceptional amount of work and hours to put in.
Okay, and so the difference between the different masters, are they just different bodies that award them, or is there a difference between them?
No, so there's a big difference. It's just a hierarchy of titles, and then obviously the more you achieve in chess under certain requirements, the higher title you get rewarded.
Okay, and I mean, to get it when you're 8 years old, how many hours does that involve playing, or how many games do you have to win, or how does that whole process work?
So my sister and I, we were kind of playing all the tournaments back then, and on a Saturday, I remember Saturdays, we'd get up early at 7 o'clock in the morning and travel all the way there, and the tournament started at 8 o'clock, and then it would finish more or less at 6 or 7 at night, and then we'd play them continuously.
So it would take the whole day, and that's playing multiple games, matches throughout the day?
Yeah, so it's around 5 matches a day, but it takes a lot of, it's a very strenuous sport. It's very hard mentally and physically, because you play one game takes easily 4 hours. It takes about 3 to 5 hours a game. And then after that, you get about a 10-15 minute break, and then you
straight into the next
game. So you need to be, your stamina also needs to be really good as well.
So you're sitting there and you're having to focus for up to 5 hours on what you're doing, what the opponent's doing. And this is also at quite a young age that you've started doing this, and games could last that long then as well. So what does it take to prepare yourself mentally? Is it just playing lots of chess, or are there other things that you do to be able to be mentally ready for it? Because we talk about the mental aspect of a lot of sports on the show, but I think above all others, chess is the most mentally taxing. So what does it take?
So I think, like I mentioned with the stamina, I currently am playing squash regularly to keep my stamina endurance up there. And I think that's very important because in the last few rounds, the most critical rounds, you tend to lose yourself mentally. And then you tend to not see as many tactics and strategies on the board as you would in the first few rounds. And the game is broken down into 3 parts: the opening, middle game, and then the end game. All parts of the game are equally important. However, the end game is the one that's most important. Lots of players have a winning position and kind of lose it in the end game.
At the start of that answer, did you say squash or did you say chess?
Yes, squash.
So you actually said squash.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that was quite exciting. So, which means a little bit later on we're going to have a bit of a challenge, and I don't think it bodes well. I also play squash, and there's definitely no correlation. There might be for you between squash and chess, but for me, definitely not. But that's very cool to hear that you're using another sport to prepare yourself for that kind of the stamina and the endurance, I guess, for it. And that goes across all sports where people who play more than one or do more than one activity, the benefits of the one rub off on the other. So that's quite cool to hear. Is your squash as good as your chess?
Nowhere near, but I try my best.
Okay. Well, then if you know about squash, you probably know Jahangir Khan with his, as a historical squash player, he had the best winning streak of any person in any professional level of sport. And I think your high school career is probably, do you know how many games you've played in high school?
I'm not too sure. We currently in a league with many different other schools participating, and I'd say about maybe 15 games a year.
Okay.
So
and at least 5 years that you've been playing as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's quite a lot of games. For school chess in South Africa, you mentioned that St. John's is part of a league. How do those matches work? Because obviously, if you're playing after school ending at 3 o'clock or a little bit later sometimes, you don't have an entire 12 hours to fit in a whole bunch of games. So are the matches under time pressure? How does it work?
So we play every Monday at our school. And like I said, there's many other teams playing. So what happens is So on Monday we play our matches, and the game is timed 40 minutes aside, and we compete with each other, but there's only one round a day. So the tournaments last for about 10 weeks, 15 weeks maybe, and then after the league is over, the top 4 schools play against each other in our round robin, and then from there we see who finishes first place.
Okay, yeah. And who finished first this year?
So our team finished first place. So this year we won all our games, and our team was exceptional. We had very talented players in our team. So yeah.
So you say your team won all their games. So that's you won all your matches, and everyone else in the team won all their matches. So how does it work?
So as a team, we won all our matches against other schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I understand. And how many people are there in a team typically?
So there's 8 players in a team, and then obviously 8 for them as well, and then we play each other.
Yeah. Okay. No, cool. That's amazing, and I was expecting you to say that you'd won. So that's cool. Chess at school during the week, is there practice training matches between each other? How does that work to prepare for the Monday rounds against other schools?
So the matches are on Mondays, and we have practices weekly on a Friday. The practices on a Friday are split into three schedules. The first one is for the A team, and then the second and the third one is for the A and B, the B and C team. And we have a special coach taking and guiding us with our A team.
And is that to guide you on strategy? Do you look at games from previous weeks? How does that work? What do you typically do? Is it just playing against each other?
No, so we do a lot of strategy and a lot of puzzles. So our coach gives us a puzzle and then he says mate in 4 or solve this and then win a piece or something. And we have to sit there and then he gives us a bit of time, maybe 10 minutes for one puzzle. And then we analyze it and then we give him our response. And yeah.
Okay, so it's taking other puzzles to basically improve your problem solving.
Yes, from famous games, yeah.
And then in general, I wanted to ask, how well is chess represented TV shows and movies? When people involve chess, use chess and talk about chess? Is it generally pretty accurate, or sometimes things happening that are a bit unlikely to happen in the real world? What do you think?
So there's not a lot of movies and series about chess, but I think we all know about the Queen's Gambit that hit the world quite with a storm and took us all back by surprise. I think that one, why it was so popular is because it was based on real life, and it incorporated real things, like, for example, how players would get upset when someone else doesn't resign. It's just the small things and the small elements that play such a big role in the movies and the series. There was also the Bobby Fischer movie, which was very good.
Okay, so take us just through that one example that you said was quite accurate, when players don't resign. So when should players resign, and why won't they, and why should we get upset?
So at a high level, if you're winning, let's say like a piece up or 2 pieces up, it comes off quite disrespectful to carry on playing. It's just a form of respect to say, I lost, I'll hand in the white flag. Okay,
so if you are literally a piece or 2 up, it's basically saying you're going to win, so the other player should resign.
Yeah. So at a high level, it's more the fact that every small move you make has such a big impact on the game that even if you lose a pawn, there's a very big chance that you're going to lose the game, and you have to fight with everything, with every ounce in sweat and tears to get back the pawn and get back the advantage, so that when you go down a piece or 2, that it's so difficult to win. And once you're so experienced in the game, the opponent's not going to blunder again. So
okay, that's scaring me. Because what I wanted to do, it's all great to say that you've won all your games except for one in grade 8, ranked in the top 50 in the country amongst all chess players, and to say all of that is great, but we actually wanted to give a bit of a physical demonstration, basically see how quickly you can beat me.
Okay.
I'm not going to resign. You have to. You must beat me.
Now I kind of regret giving you the white pieces.
Yeah, it might be quite catastrophic. So come out. Just your objective is to end me as quickly as possible.
Okay.
With the added, I don't even think it's a difficulty. It just looks cool. You're not going to be able to see the board.
Okay.
And obviously I'll say what's happening, but that's what we're going to do. So how quickly do you think? I've played, to be fair, I've maybe played less than 10 times in my whole life.
Okay.
So
with white pieces, it would have been a lot shorter, but with black pieces, I think maybe about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Come on, wake up now. Who got zombie? Wake up now. Sequilatos cat. Wake up now. Who got my sign? Get up and go.
With 15 delicious breakfasts, Spur is the place to be until 11 every morning. Enjoy an unreal breakfast, still just $49.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
Wake up now. Come on. Yeah.
all right, we have the board set up. You've given me white. I know so much about chess that I know I get to start. I know the direction all the pieces can move in. And basically, I know how quickly it can end. And I've made sure that I'm not going to do anything that could let you beat me in the fastest possible time. But you are blindfolded. That barely counts. I think there should seriously be a higher handicap of some sort. But I've played chess fewer than 10 times, so I really don't know what I'm doing. But I'm going to start by... Okay, I'm going to move pawn to g3.
Okay. Pawn to e5.
Your pawn to see now the longest part about this is going to be me finding where to move your pieces. Okay,
The
pawn
one
to
in front of
e5.
the king,
Yes. There we go. Okay, pawn to h3.
Okay, bishop c5. The dark squared bishop.
This is terrifying. Okay, so bishop to c5. Right. I am absolutely shaking in terror, which I don't know why, seeing as I'm expecting to lose. Okay, rook to h2.
Okay.
I'm taking that slight delay as a good thing.
Okay. Let's go knight f6.
Ooh, knight to f. Here is f6. Where is 6? Here is 6. There we go. Knight to f6. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretending like I'm thinking deeply, but we all know that's not happening. I'm going to just move this. Oh, no, I can't move that because that's not good. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm overthinking this. Let us just move a pawn to a3.
Okay, queen takes f2. Checkmate.
Just to show that, queen, f2, and that is checkmate.
Well played.
Can we have a read on the time? 3 minutes, 57 seconds. Yeah, I told you it wasn't going to be 5 minutes. Okay, we can leave that up just so it...
It looks good.
It looks good. Yeah, okay. And I didn't even take the piece, like I could have, but that would have just been a waste of time. All right, so they're just to show that he is who we say he is, and to visualize the impressiveness of that. From how young were you able to just see the board in your head?
I think seeing the board in your head is a very difficult task. So I think about recent, like a few years ago, not too long ago, yeah.
Yeah. How many games can you play simultaneously in your head?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. I would about say 2 games.
Okay, at least 2 that you could play in your head at the same time, which is 2 more than I can play on a board. So there we go. So when you play a game against someone for the first time, are you probing at the start? Are you just attacking? How does that strategy work? Based on someone you're actually playing who's an actual bit more of competition than I am, someone who you're playing in an actual match.
So the more prestigious tournaments, it happens over a course of 7 days. So it's 1 round a day, and then you get a 1 day break in between, and it's more or less 9 rounds. So before the match starts, you get time to prepare. So normally the results or the pairings come out the night before, and then in the morning you have enough time to prepare for the match. So I think the preparation takes a big toll. It takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then from there, you look at the person playing style, their openings, and then possible strategies you can use. So yeah.
Just as an example for those different opening strategies, if you were to, like, they all have names and they're all fancy in chess. If you do one, how many moves does it involve? Is it like saying you're going to do this, hope this person does that, and then there are a couple permutations there? How do moves, like the generally categorized ones that might be more popular, how do they kind of work? When I say I'm going to do this opening, what does that mean?
So the openings can range up to about 5 moves and to about like 20 moves.
Oh wow, okay.
And I say 20 moves on both sides.
Yeah, so that was much longer than our entire match.
So one opening can have many variations. I mean, as soon as you start with the first move with e4 or e5 or something, there's many possible combinations. There's e4, there's e5, there's d5, there's c5. There's so many different variations that the opening can go as far as possible.
Okay, so be honest now. When I moved my pawn to h4, were you like, fool?
Yeah, it wasn't the most popular move.
Yeah, I was just too terrified about opening anything in the middle to die immediately.
For the younger generation out there that's learning how to play, try and play in the center.
So completely the opposite of what I did the entire match. Have you ever beaten someone with the fool's mate?
No, not.
No,
I think
okay. The people you play against, though, but they're at least at the level where they're not going to lose.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it that I also didn't. So that was just the thing I was most scared about. I knew you were obviously going to beat me. It was just a matter of time. And hopefully that was quicker than you thought, but probably a little bit longer than I thought. So there is that. Now, obviously, when we had COVID, just quickly in 2020, 21, and then a bit in 22, most sports came to a stop. But chess obviously has the unique advantage of being something that you can play against anyone in the world online, and you can decide how long everyone has to make their moves, whether that's a couple minutes, a day, a few days. So did that impact how much, I'm sure you play online, did that impact how much you played online, or was it something that you already did? How did that impact chess?
So chess.com and Lichess are the most popular sites. I think after COVID, during COVID, the two websites really had a big impact on all our chess players. I think many of us were dying for the experience of the chess world. So we would kind of log on chess websites and we just rattle games off, and then you get different forms of games. You get the bug house, you get all sorts of forms, and then you get quicker games, you get faster, you get slower games. So yeah, you can get a 3-minute game, or you could get like an hour-long game, depending on your choice.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's very cool, that you're able to play against people from around the world, and I think that helps everyone learn, develop. So for you, your win-loss ratio, we know for school, is very good. On chess.com, is it as good, or do you challenge yourself a bit more? I mean, how many people are there in the world that can challenge you?
So online, because my rating's a bit higher, I'm playing people more of my strength. So that's a bit of a challenging record.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I think that's something that's good.
Yeah.
Because the way to get better is to play people that are as good, or if not better than you.
So the more games you play and the more losses you play, the more you learn from the game.
Okay. Yeah. And how long do you think before we have the title Grandmaster?
It's going to be a very long time.
A very long
but
time.
Hopefully we'll get there in the end.
In the end, yeah. Okay. In the chess world, any inspirations, people you look up to?
So I look up to Pragananda. He's currently a phenomenal player and he's inspiring the youth. He is a grandmaster and he's from India. I actually had the honor and the privilege to play him when I was 10 years old, and we met at the World Youth Chess Championship in 2014. And
did you do better than I did against you? Or?
Well, I definitely lost, but yeah.
Oh, we both lost. That's all that matters.
Game.
I can imagine.
But him and his sister are both phenomenal players. They are currently ranked 14th in the world. And it reminds me of my sister and I, who are very competitive and play a lot of chess. So, yeah.
And do you think that's been a part of your development from when you were younger, having someone that you could compete against all the time?
So yeah, I only played him once.
No, I mean playing your sister.
Oh yes. My sister has helped me through. Just before a tournament, we'd play against each other and then help each other with these openings or these traps.
Who's better?
I think my answer differs from hers.
Fair enough. Okay, she's in the room, so we'll be diplomatic. Now that you've done with school, taking chess forward into the future, what are your plans after school, studying? What does that look like, and then how does chess fit into that?
So, I plan to represent my university when I'm there. And I plan to play with them, and I hope to lead them and inspire them as well. And then I also am I'm planning on coaching as well, and I feel like that's my way of giving back to the community and inspiring the young generation. I think that's very important as well.
Older people like me who can't play at all. No, but I think that's great that you're going to give back to the game and teach younger people how to play, because I think it's a game that if you start young, it's a lot easier to get to grips with and be better when you're older, versus me, who hasn't a clue. I just know what all the pieces do, don't know any of the moves, don't know any of the gambits, fancy things, none of that. So it becomes harder to learn that when you're older. So that's great. And then you say play for university. Any specific university yet that you're focused on or know you're going to?
Not as yet. We're
Okay.
waiting for the marks and then we'll decide.
Waiting for the marks and then
Yeah.
you're going to decide. Okay, cool. No, that's great. Good luck for that. I'm sure you're going to play a lot of chess in your life. And hopefully one day we'll see Grandmaster and we'll know. Way back on that Super Sports Schools podcast, we had Yashil Modi and he beat me. So I've been beaten by someone who's currently a FIDE Master. So I don't feel too bad. Okay. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for playing. But just before we let you go, we do have to do the Super Sports Schools podcast quiz where maybe I can get some of my pride back, even though I don't compete. I just ask you the questions.
Yeah.
So that's next. Are you ready to play? Then your time starts now. How many European and worldwide titles has Barcelona won in total?
14.
It's 22. Which color moves first in chess?
White.
Correct. Who won the most recent men's FIFA World Cup?
Real Madrid.
It's Argentina. How many pieces is a typical chess game played with?
Are you talking of black and white?
Yeah, in total.
64.
It's 32. True or false? Intentionally handballing in the box to stop a goal in football will result in a red card and penalty.
True.
Correct. What is the name of the rugby team that represents Joburg in the URC and has Emirates Airline Park as its home ground? Sharks or Lions?
Lions.
Correct. The quickest possible checkmate in chess is known as the fool's mate. But what is the fewest moves it can take for black?
3 moves.
It's 2. What is the name given to the number which represents all possible move variations in a game of chess?
An opening.
It's the Shannon number. How many players are involved in a typical paddle match?
It's 4.
Correct.
4 players.
Okie dokie. 4. Okay, so you know what it feels like to be terrified and put under the pressure now. But obviously that's just a quiz for fun and games. What you're really good at is playing chess. And we're going to be excited to see where your career takes you further playing chess. Now no longer for St. John's, but obviously for 5 years, very successful. Anything you want to add before we end off?
I just wanted to say a thank you to my parents, my sister, all my friends that have supported me and my coaches. Musa and Rodwell, that have guided me and supported me throughout my chess experience, and my school for allowing me to take time off and allowing me to experience other tournaments.
Amazing. It does sound like you've had a fantastic group around you helping you flourish in chess. So that's awesome. It's all from us here at the Super Sports Schools podcast quiz brought to you by Spur. Like I said earlier, Spur has a taste for life, but Yashil definitely has a taste for chess. We'll be back next week with another fantastic episode. I'm not going to be here. Itumeleng Banda is sitting in for me as we look ahead to the 2023 SA Schools Boat Race brought to you by Standard Bank. So she's going to be doing the episode all on boat race fever. Tune in, same time, Wednesday, 7 p.m. or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Alex White. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
This has been the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.